Dr. Gary Wood was 18 years old when he and his sister were involved in a serious car crash. Dr. Wood and his then 16-year-old sister Sue were traveling home when he crashed the car into an illegally parked vehicle. While the younger Wood left the crash relatively unscathed, Gary suffered potentially life-ending injuries, including a crushed larynx and vocal cords, as well as having his nose ripped off and several broken bones. When paramedics arrived, Dr. Wood was pronounced dead at the scene. However, the rebellious teen, as he describes himself on his website, still remembers everything so vividly some 50 years later. Speaking to presenter Sid Roth on his show It's Supernatural! Dr. Wood said that after the crash he experienced a lot of pain, then I was just relieved of all pain as he died. Dr. Wood then claims that he ascended to heaven. He said, "Dying is just like taking your clothes off and just laying them aside. I stepped out of this body, this earth suit, and then was lifted up through the top of my car and my whole life just passed before my eyes in just an instant. Then I was caught in a swirling massive funnel-shaped cloud that grew brighter." He described dying and ascending to heaven as ecstasy, peaceful, calm, tranquility. Then this cloud opened up and I saw this giant golden satellite, suspended in space that the Bible calls heaven. Dr. Wood, who has authored several books on his supposed experience, said that he was met by an angel that was at least 70 feet tall and stood in front of gates that were 500 miles wide. He said of the angel, he had a sword, he had beautiful gold, spun hair. And there was an angel inside of the city that was holding some books. There was some exchange between the two angels and then I was allowed into the city. He then claims to have been given a tour of heaven by his friend. Dr. Wood said he was met by my best friend in high school who had been killed in a lawnmower accident. Then my friend began to take me on a tour of a place called heaven. About 500 yards from the throne room of God, my friend took me and I was captivated by the sign on the outside that said unclaimed blessings. When I opened the door, to my astonishment I saw legs hanging there from the wall, real legs. Every part of one's anatomy was there in that room and people asked me, why do you need a place like that? Because God has a spare part when God has a miracle. Dr. Wood, who has now become a minister, also told Mr. Roth how he had met Jesus. I was sent back to tell people that heaven is real, there is a song to sing, there is a mission or journey to take, there is a book to write. You are unique in purpose on this earth. Jesus told me to give a specific message. There will be a spirit of restoration that would prevail throughout the land, there would be a teaching and emphasis on prayer. Back on earth, his younger sister was screaming out his name, hoping that Gary could be revived, a scream which he says he and his friend heard in heaven. He said, when my friend was taking me on this tour, as Sue began to cry out, my friend said to me, "You've got to go back," she's using that name. And so I just shot right back down into my body. They noticed life signs, they rushed me to the hospital to stabilize me.